It's become arguably the matchup of the year in college football, certainly in the SEC. It's Georgia, it's Tennessee. We saw what the Vols did to the Tide a few weeks ago, and now they take aim at the national champions on the road. We've got Steve Merrill here from wagertalk.com. Steve joins us every Thursday. We produce segments not just here, but on all the team channels here at the Voice of College Football. So please check those out and get on over to wagertalk.com where you check out Steve's complete line of betting information on the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA included. All right, Georgia, Tennessee, the Dogs a pretty heavy favorite considering how Tennessee's looked this season, Steve, at -8.
Yeah, definitely the biggest game of the season. These two teams are 1-2 in the AP rankings. They're 1-3 in the coaches poll, and they're 1-3 in the computer college football playoff rankings that just came out this week. But what's interesting is it's not the same order in those rankings. You know, Tennessee is first in the playoff ranking, which is the most important, but they're only second in the AP and only third in the coaches poll. Georgia is number one in both of those polls, and they're only number 3 in the college football playoff rankings. And I think a quarter of that equation is the polls. Obviously, there's a computer element and also a human element with the committee. What concerns me, though, is that if Tennessee is lower in the polls yet higher in the playoff rankings, that means the committee and the computers have them even higher. And I don't agree. First of all, the point spread obviously doesn't agree because, as you mentioned, Mark, Georgia's an 8-point home favorite. We'll say 3 points, strong home field for this game. So that means Georgia's 5 points better on a neutral field. And my math simulation says that's not even close. In fact, my math simulation has Georgia winning by 11.8, almost 12 points in this game. That's 10,000 simulations with all my numbers running different scenarios. Georgia wins by double digits over half the time. So once again shows that the computer college football rankings, whatever you want to call them, the playoff rankings, are not the best indicator. The point spread, of course, has always been the best indicator and always will be. So the question becomes, there's value with Georgia. Do I think they can cover? And yes, I think that's the preferred side here. I'm not going to say Tennessee is going to run out of gas, but they've had a really tough schedule. And, you know, this is a team that's not used to being in this scenario week in and week out. They play Alabama 52-49. They were so fortunate to catch Tennessee Martin the next week, an easy, 38-point favorite game. And then last week they were also fortunate to really kind of run away from Kentucky. That was a game in which, I thought Kentucky might be able to keep it close early on. But as I said on the show last week, if Tennessee can pull ahead just like they did against LSU, LSU, Kentucky, they're not the type of teams that can catch up. So Tennessee's in a little bit of a better spot here coming in than you would have thought, but Georgia's in a really good spot, and they're not going to overlook this game. I still think they're as good as anybody in the nation, maybe the best team in the country. And the defensive difference in this game is going to be the difference. Tennessee's explosive offensively, there's no question about that, but very mediocre on defense. 5.2 yards per play allowed against teams that average 5.8. Georgia averaged 7.3. Georgia gives up just 4.6 against teams that also average 5.8. So better defense. I do think Tennessee on the surface seems more explosive offensively, but 7.4 yards per play. Georgia, 7.3. The Bulldogs' offense is underrated this year. They're still averaging almost 42 points a game. I do worry a little bit about backdoor cover potential here with Tennessee, getting within a touchdown, because obviously that offense can score at will. They average 11.5 yards per pass attempt. That means every time they throw the ball, theoretically, they get a first down all season. So the backdoor coverage of potential is a little bit concerning here. But I'll point this out. This is probably the biggest public underdog I have seen all season in college football. I do my NFL Fade the Public video at Wager Talk TV, wagertalk.com every weekend. I don't talk a lot about the public consensus data in college football. But when you have a high-profile underdog that's getting over 70% of the tickets like this is, that's a red flag. Line is dropping because of that. Do we dare say maybe we get a -7 by kickoff on Saturday? I'm not sure, but right now it's -8. I think the sharps are on Georgia. I think the public recreational bettors are on Tennessee. You normally want to be on the sharp side, and that's Georgia in this game.
Our Discord link is the place to be to talk college football 24/7, 365 with the Knuckleheads. You will enjoy it. And, of course, you get Steve's Under the Radar selection. Where do you get that? Go to patreon.com, search Mark Rogers TV. You join us there, and you get Steve's Under the Radar selection, a mere 8-1 this season against the spread. Steve, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Mark.